you seen that Porter did good?
Yeah, Porter did good. I thought Porter could have won if he had get stopped.
Do you think his
His daddy stopped too early.
why? What would you have done if you were in there? Continue going?
He a warrior. Let him fight. He more than Marvin Hagler.
So
His daddy stopped too early.
why? What would you have done if you were in there? Continue going?
He a warrior. Let him fight. He more than Marvin Hagler.
So
His daddy stopped too early.
why? What would you have done if you were in there? Continue going?
He a warrior. Let him fight. He more than Marvin Hagler.
So
What's good, family? Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. So we just heard there from your man's Errol Spence airing out the fake, fruity, zesty Shawn Zesty Porter, yeah? Shawn fake looking ass Hagler Porter. And I can't lie to you, I wish that, in a way, I wish Errol Spence had blasted those goofies some more. Because listen, you might know that, bottom line is, Spence and Crawford must fight in the next 12 months. That's a fact. However, the point is, the bottom line is, Porter and Crawford went in the ring. And I've been saying this for a while. I mean, we had AJ, Anthony Johnson, the other day, talking about Kronk. I'm sick to death of fighters saying things. And in a way, you know, if I was Marvin Hagler, I'd be suing Shawn Porter. Same if I was Kronk, I'd be suing AJ. Why? That's defamation. Yeah? If you say you can, if you bring my brand into something, it's a bit like a nonce, or it's a bit like someone who likes children. Imagine them. Imagine if some creeper started shouting about Coca-Cola. Oh, I'm representing Coca-Cola. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to sue the dude. Yeah? We don't want to be associated with your creepy brand. And it's the same thing. Hagler, through his actions, not through his words, Hagler, through his actions, much like the Kronk, through their actions, have developed a brand. That brand is very specific. Yeah? It's get stuck in Pacific. Or get stuck in brand, rather. Yeah? And I'm sick to death of these scary 2021 zesty dudes taking brands and using, because what we know is, listen, we can, me, you, anyone can sit there and say, it's easy to sit there and use your mouth to talk about something hard. Oh, I'm going to do Hagler. Oh, I'm going to do Kronk. Oh, I'm going to do Knockout. We can all do that. I've never boxed a day in my life as such, or in an actual fight, but I can talk about Hagler too. How about that? Oh, man, I'm Hagler. I'm the YouTube Hagler. I'm hard. I'm YouTube We can all do that. Yeah? And I'm sick to death of these dudes selling pay-per-views based on Hagler and then getting hit. You heard there from Spence. Spence said, Kenny, you stopped the fight too early. And Kenny, what happened to all that Warrior and all that Hagler stuff you was talking before the fight? What happened to it? And I wish that Spence had gone in more. I think Spence should have hopped on IG Live and roasted Porter some more about that. I think, for me, yeah, that's an ultimate disrespect. I haven't got a problem. I think it's respectful. I think it's respectful, yeah, to pay homage to the people who came before you, like Hagler. However, it's a very thin line you're walking here, i.e., it's a thin line between paying homage and then being disrespectful and bringing the brand into disrepute. Yeah? Being respectful is, okay, yep, I'm going to put Marvin Hagler on my t-shirt, but then, when I'm in the fight, I'm going to mirror image what he was about. Not, yeah, I'll take the pay-per-view sales before the fight, but then when I'm in the fight, I'll forget and I'll conveniently do the opposite of what I was talking about. Yeah, Marvin Hagler needs to be suing the Porters right now, because not one part of their performance was Hagler. All we heard from Kenny Porter was politician. Oh man, well, you know, my son, and I have breakfast with my son, and you know, my son has grandchildren, and so I'm pretty sure Hagler had grandchildren too. What's your point? Yeah, I don't get it. You sign up, and it's the thing as well, you man are getting paid a lot more money than they was back in the 70s and 80s. And the worst thing is, you're getting paid a lot more money for a lot crapper fights against a lot worse opposition. Now, I'm not saying Crawford was bad opposition, but in general, I mean, look at Tank Davis. Here's another fruity. Here's another zesty. Look at Tuck Davis. Yeah, super zesty. He getting paid millions of dollars to fight random names we've never heard of again and again and again. And he talk about, I mean, I've got another video coming soon. Tank Davis talking about how he got more skills than Canelo Alvarez. These guys, what's wrong with them? It's mad. But that's the problem, you see. In 2021, it's all about the mouthpiece. And in a way, I blame people like, well, I guess to be fair to, well, I don't know what to say. Floyd, because to be fair to Floyd, I don't remember him saying he can knock people out, apart from Logan Paul. Apart from Logan Paul, I don't remember Floyd saying he can knock people out. He'd tell you that he's going to beat you. But, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But the point is, Floyd didn't really bring other people into it. Yeah? These other dudes these days, because they don't have any brand themselves, Shawn Porter, yeah, he don't have no ferocious brand. These guys haven't developed no ferocious brand. So they got to steal other people's legacies and bring them into their own and attach themselves. Because rather than actually making your own legacy, for example, if Shawn Porter was known as being real gritty and real totally ferocious, then guess what? People would be saying, yeah, I'm going to Shawn Porter him. But rather than do that, they say, well, you know, that sounds like hard work. Let me not make my own brand equity. Let me not do that. Instead, I'll just stay scary. I'll get my pops to pull me out of the ring when it gets tough, and I'll just use his name instead. I'll just essentially clout chase. I'll clout chase all the old heads who put years of effort. And I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy thing to do, is it? It's not easy to go in there and have a war. Yeah, but that's why that's why Hagler's name is still ringing 40 years later. I just think it's the worst thing to do. Gas the place up. I've got him. Look at my t-shirt. I've got Hagler on my t-shirt. What happened to all that? I'm sorry, but this right here, yeah, was a calculated deception from the Team Porter side. Bottom line, they went out of their way to push this whole narrative, and then when it came to it, they were the opposite. They flapped when it came to it. Yeah? And everyone right now, Hagler, the fans, should be sickened by this. And Errol Spence is calling a spade a spade. What happened to all of that? And it makes me laugh. You know these reporters, these so-called journalists, in the post-fight press conference, instead of saying to Shawn, I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but the first question on my mouth was, Shawn, what happened to Hagler? What happened to that? Because guess what? The fans didn't ask you to talk about Hagler. The journalists didn't ask you to talk about Hagler. You and your creepy pops, you and your goofy pops, came up with this nice, real smoky narrative to push pay-per-view sales. That's on you. So the same way you was printing the t-shirts, the same way you was gassing the place up, we want to know what happened to that. Specifically Kenny, because it weren't just Shawn, to be fair, Kenny. And you know what? Kenny in particular, because he pulled the fight, Kenny. Why were you? Because listen, it's all well and good saying, well, he's my son, and, you know, I didn't want him to get hurt. Well, that's fine. But if you don't want your son to get hurt, don't be talking about Hagler. Yeah? Don't be pushing a marketing strategy of Hagler if you're planning on hopping out after the first shot lands. There's no accountability, and again in 2021, not only is there no accountability, it's sports moved to a place where journalists or so-called journalists, they actually praise these kind of things. They say things like, oh man, Shawn Porter, he's smart, he make good decisions, he a businessman, and all this kind of stuff. That's not your job. It's not your job to praise. Your job's to be objective and say, Shawn, we didn't ask you. You may well be good at business. You may be well good at whatever you're doing. But the facts are, you can be good at business and not tell lies. That's where we stand in today. You was lying for the last 4 weeks about what you're going to do. And you got in there, and you and your pops had a plan. Because the thing is, Shawn Porter, we've seen people before, be mad at their corners. Shawn Porter wasn't mad. So clearly to me, they had a strategy. Yeah, you know what, Pops? We'll talk about Hagler. Then if I get stuck, pull me out. And then Shawn's sitting there saying, yeah, well, my dad had a job to do. What? You weren't saying that? Listen, before the fight, you could have been saying, listen, my dad's got a job to do. If I get hit twice, he's going to pull me out. And that's the end of that. I'm a smart businessman. And based on how they reacted after the fight, telling us about how he's going to go to see his grandkids and how he's going to go breakfast in the morning and all this kind of stuff. That's what you should have been saying. You should have been saying, listen, I admire Andre Ward, who ran off. Yeah? I admire Andre Ward, who had one half-sharp fight and then disappeared. Yeah? I'm going to hit twice. My dad's got a job to do. If I get hit twice, he's going to pull me out. You could have been... That's what you should have been saying. Not talking about HAGLER. Not printing T-shirts with HAGLER on it. That's the opposite. But then the media, there's no follow-through. It's almost like, well... And that's the thing. The media were happy to push all the pictures and all the videos of Shawn Porter and his dad ranting and raving about HAGLER, wouldn't they? Because that's how we know about it. We never would have known about the HAGLER thing if the media weren't there shilling for him. So my thing is, like, do people have no memories? What happened to that? When your pops pulled you out after the second shot landed, and the thing is, that second knockdown, it wasn't even a knockdown. He didn't even get hit. He was off balance because he was leading with his face. So wait there. Shawn Porter falls over after leading with his face. His dad pulls him out. And everyone's celebrating how much of a smart businessman and how, oh, you've had a great career and oh, you're such a smart businessman and that's right, get out ahead. People don't realise, when we talk about getting out ahead means that you got out of the game. Because where did that money come from? Yeah, that money came from the fans. Don't forget that. So this whole narrative of, oh, he got out ahead. No, he got out with the fans' money is what you mean. Yeah? There is no getting out ahead. You either get out in a fair exchange. Now, a fair exchange is providing or giving a product that you said you would provide. That's a fair exchange. No one's saying that you should go in there and whatever. I'm saying that a fair exchange is when you sell a product to the fans and we pay you for that product. You could have sold the genuine product, which would have been, like I've explained, you could have said, listen, truth is, people, the product you're going to buy on pay-per-view for $50 is going to be, if I get hit twice, or if I get hit once and then fall on the floor, I'm going to be dragged out. My dad's going to pull the string on it. Yeah, if you're happy to buy that product of being hit twice or being hit once and jumping out, then $50. No one, who can complain with that? No one can, because you've been sold it. Yeah, Shawn Porter could have been selling, yep, I love Andre Ward, he ran off and I'm going to retire soon and I'm retiring after this fight and I'm a smart businessman, and he weren't saying that. He was talking about HAGLER. Listen, I've done videos on it. Shawn Porter was talking about how Terence Crawford's resume is suspect and all these other things. Now, my question to you is, how do you find out if someone's resume is suspect? You have to put it on them, do you not? And that's what Errol Spence himself even said, that he believed Shawn Porter was going to go on and win the fight if it had been allowed to carry on. And that's what I was saying. I'm not saying I don't believe he necessarily was going to win the fight, but I'm saying that the fight had only just started, really. Them last 2 or 3 rounds, that's when the fight would have started. Because Shawn Porter, at that point, had nothing to lose. That's when we find out, really, about both men. What have you got? The rest of the fight was that standard just average fight rubbish. I wouldn't even call it fight. The first 10 rounds of that fight was average boxing rubbish. That typical, just not a lot of anything going on. Them last few rounds, we were about to see what both men were made of. Oh no, but Kenny the businessman came in. And didn't forget, they strategically said one thing and did another. That's what you call false advertisement. And by the way, any other business, who does that, any other business who sells you a product based on false pretenses, that you can sue them in court. But this is the only one where you can say one thing and do another. It's shocking. So yeah, Errol Spence is correct here. Yeah? What happened to the HAGLER? What happened to it? And it makes me laugh because the fact that Errol Spence has picked up on that as well, that says it all for me. That says, what more can we say? Errol Spence himself has picked up on the shockingness of the situation. Because no one didn't ask his dad to be shilling about HAGLER. But it just shows you that these guys, all they care about is themselves. And I get it, well. I mean, I know we all do that to an extent, but I don't know. This whole lot stinks at the moment, truth be known.